guys, and welcome to spending a long weekend kind of reading and getting through my TBR together, because I have the next couple days off, and what better way to spend them than together with y'all as I read a couple books I've really wanted to for the past few months or so. And so let's just directly get into it. Now for context, as I'm recording it, it is a Tuesday and I should have started on Saturday, but then I've never been the best at planning and organization anyway. Basically, I ended up spending Saturday off this week, last week, I don't know what you'd really call it or whatever, kind of finishing off a different vlog. Sunday, I was editing the vlog that needed to go out yesterday, and yesterday I finally had to go get my driving exam done, and it was in the next time over. So now that I have passed my exam, I don't have to be worrying about all of these other things. I can spend the next couple days, today Tuesday and tomorrow Wednesday, which I also have off, kind of reading with a clear, empty, free mind. And so that's all we're gonna do. I am starting later in the day, but it doesn't really matter because I have gotten some reading done as I was in the other town over yesterday, and I had quite a bit of time on my hands before the test and afterward. And so we will get into the books I am reading at the moment, because obviously it's gonna be books I'm always in the middle of, plural, too many. My currently reading is always skyrocketing, cannot really help that, but I will have to go figure out what I want to pick up for right now, because there are a couple reads going. So I'll go make that decision and I'll come catch up with you guys in a little bit once I have picked up officially the first book for this video, and we can just continue, kind of get through those books together, kind of read some and get them off my TBR, obviously, because there's a lot on there and it's time we actually start working toward making a dent in it. So I'll come see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Okay guys, so it's only a couple hours later and I have gone ahead and finished our first book for this video. It's an audiobook I actually started a couple nights ago when I was making the thumbnail for the video I needed to post yesterday. And so I started it then, but today I spent all evening kind of catching up on my reading journal to kind of finish that out. And as I was doing that, I kind of finished listening to this just now or whatever, and I'm coming in instantly to give you thoughts because live updates are the best updates. Basically, I am going to be posting like a video about my reading journal or whatever in the next couple weeks or so, and everything about that is ready except the reading journal, like the footage I'm supposed to be filming about how it looks like complete. And so the next few books or whatever, I will be listening as I go ahead and complete all of that, which is why there won't really be updates about what kind of stuff I'm doing during listening to my audiobooks. It's mostly just going to be this or errands. And so there's going to be a lot to listen to in the next couple days or whatever, but until then, let's talk about the book I just finished, That's Not My Name. Basically, it has two perspectives it follows. Number one is this girl, she has no idea what her name is, hence the title, because she actually wakes up on the side of the road and she's like bruised and covered in like all kinds of injuries and stuff, and she kind of has this like case of amnesia where she doesn't remember shit from before. So suddenly she's taken into the police station or whatever. They're kind of looking into her case and they assume that she got into some sort of car accident, which is why she ended up that way, except they can't really, confirm or deny facts or whatever. And as all of this is happening, this one man shows up at the police station claiming to be her father, and he's got all the like receipts to prove it. He's got like her birth certificate, and he's got her social security number, and he's got like childhood photos or whatever, stuff that could link him as being her father, except she's not really so sure, because once she goes back home with him or whatever, he starts slipping up in the smallest of ways, and suddenly she's wondering who the hell she's come home with and why he's lying to her, because he's telling her name is Mary. She's like a really innocent, sweet girl, except she doesn't remember herself being so, and as she starts getting flashes of memory back, she's wondering if she ended up in a really sinister, dark place. On the other hand, we have this like small town wherein there's this like disappearance that just happened, because the couple nights ago or whatever, when it happened, there was this guy, he was going out with his girlfriend or whatever. They ended up having a fight, and the girlfriend, Lola, she kind of stormed out of the car and never looked back, and right after that she went missing. So the boyfriend, Drew, the one who stayed in the car or whatever, now that she's gone or whatever, Lola's missing, the entire town starts to blame him. And so because he's missing her, he loves her, and he also wants to clear his name out, he starts this investigation kind of looking into leads to kind of find Lola. And except the clues that are coming up or whatever, no one really believes him, not even the cops, and they all assume it's him, except the stuff that's coming up in his research or whatever could prove to more like sinister signs or whatever. And suddenly he's wondering if she's going to be alive by the time he reaches her, because lots is going going down. So that's his perspective, the second one, and you're trying to kind of understand how both the perspectives kind of link up, because he's trying to trace this missing, disappeared girl, and on the other hand there is a girl and she just doesn't remember shit from her previous life and she can't remember her name and details and stuff. And so it lines up pretty nicely and the slots do fit in. But I will say I found the, I guess, overall conclusion a little underwhelming. I feel like it wasn't what I'd expected. It wasn't like the mind-blowing crazy shit I've been seeing or whatever, because I've been seeing this book all over my mutuals of Goodreads and whatever, and everyone seems to love it except me. I just thought it was like basic. So I'm gonna say like 3 stars because it wasn't very long. It's like a cute little thriller you can finish up in not so much time if you want to like add to your goal, and it's definitely interesting and atmospheric if you want those vibes. But also it wasn't like the best stuff I've ever watched. Like it's just something you'd watch on the TV in the background if you have nothing else to watch, and it's interesting enough that it kept my attention, but at the same time, if I wouldn't have read it in my life, I could have gone without reading it because it wasn't something I would have needed anyway. It wasn't something like absolutely great. So I feel like it was like a very mid book, which is why 3 stars. Happy I read it, happy I now understand why people are talking about it, but at the same time it isn't my favorite thriller ever because I've read better stuff that have had me more engaged or more hooked with also better conclusions. But I will say the grief aspect in this, it was done really well, and a couple perspectives here and there really got me frustrated, so that definitely went in the favor of the book because it was supposed to make you feel that way. And listen, I had a fun time somewhat. I was somewhat hooked and I don't know why I'm complaining. So I think this is enough. I'm just gonna go now. I do feel like reading on Kindle right now, which is why I'm gonna go have some dinner downstairs, and then once I come back up I'm gonna continue reading on Kindle for the night or whatever, because I just don't feel like reading journaling anymore. I'm so sick of that shit, at least for right now. So we'll see how it goes, but basically the next book's gonna be a Kindle one. I'll see what I'm in the middle of and pick one of those up. But yeah, see you guys in a little bit with updates hopefully on the next one, and bye. That's it, literally bye. Okay guys, so it's now like late evening, early nightish I guess you can call it, and it's the next day, also the final day of this video, which means we really have to lock in now and pull in clutch with the reading, because otherwise I've read only one book in a somewhat mediocre vlog and this is going to be so boring for you. But basically I have gone ahead and yesterday I stayed up reading on my Kindle. I wish I was joking. Mid-read my eyes literally, they shut, so I fell asleep and then I woke up again around like 4 in the morning. Tell me why I decided it was a good idea to go ahead and finish my book and then go back to bed. So I fell asleep mid-reading or whatever, and then I woke up at around 4. No idea what time I fell asleep, but then I was reading again, went to bed like finally at like 4:45 once I finished my book. But I went ahead and it was only one chapter that was left. That's the funniest part. There was only one left and I fell asleep mid-chapter. So I went ahead, I finally finished reading whatever this book is called, Overruled I think, and it's so weird because I thought I would like it, but here I am now complaining about it because it was like a weird experience reading it. But basically I have a whole summary to give you, and before you ask anything, that one chapter that I did not finish or whatever, I fell asleep in the middle of and then woke up and finished and went to bed at 4:45. It didn't take me 45 minutes to finish. I was doing other things, winding up my shit or whatever, making space so I could actually go to sleep because everything was scattered on my bed. So it didn't actually take that long, but I did fall asleep in the middle, and that just goes to say that my attention span was not having it for this book. But basically it follows this woman who's called Danica. She's one of like the top divorce attorneys in Austin, Texas, and the best part with her is that she's one of those like workaholic, professional woman or whatever, cut the bullshit out or whatever, because she is okay being married to her job. She's okay with having like a huge case workload or whatever because she actually enjoys that shit. And so if you like Nora from Book Lovers, because I'm also rereading that at the moment, you will definitely like this woman because she gives the kind of, I don't know, just cutthroat energy that I really enjoyed. And so basically she's the sort of woman who is very driven, and she is also known for her high success rate. So something happens and suddenly now the biggest case of all time kind of lands in her lap, and it's also the one that if she kind of makes it or whatever, she's gonna make senior partner at her firm, so there's high stakes involved. And suddenly she's so driven, she's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it, except something happens and suddenly it's the worst sequence of events or whatever, because the opposing side or whatever, the main guy on the other side, is the guy she's also sleeping with at the moment. So lots is going on. And now on the other hand, the guy, he's Ezra, he is also known for his great success rate. He's very good at winning, but the only thing he's not winning is Danica's heart, because he has liked her since literally forever, but he just doesn't know how to say it to her. And so they have the whole friends with benefits situation going, except they're not even friends because they're always throwing these like barbs at each other, lots of banter going back and forth. And so he's trying to win her heart and show her that, love could be real, love is possible or whatever, because she just doesn't believe in it thanks to her childhood traumas. And in the midst midst of all of this, he's got his own trauma, so it kind of goes to show her that, listen, you're not the only one with baggage or whatever. And so he's trying to forge like an emotional connection with her and just show her that, you know, maybe we could be more than just purely physical needs. And so it goes from there, and he's just trying to show that he's not insufferable or whatever. But as that's happening, he's on the other side of that case. So now it really just depends, because she needs to win that case by hook or by crook, and then on the other hand, he's there, which is kind of like a distraction. So what's going to happen next, what's going to happen between the two of them, because they're falling for each other but neither of them know how to say it. And so it goes from there. And one thing I will say, this book was so dull. Like, I'll be so for real, the first book and the only other book I've read by this author, I think it was called The Nanny, in like a couple different videos. I'll have them on screen in case you want to go watch. And my only complaint for that book was the fact that it was a little too physical. There was no emotional connection. And my complaint here is, yes, there was a lot of spice, but the connection, I don't see it, because I feel like over there, when I said it needed more depth, here both the characters have deep backstories separately, but they have so much trauma that I feel like together they're too toxic for each other. Not in the sense that they're harming each other, it's just that they need to go work through their traumas before anything, and you don't see any of that. It's just the realization you wake up with one day that, oh, this is how I feel and this is the trauma solved or whatever. And like, I don't stand with that. I feel like there should have been more resolution, which the book clearly lacked. Apart from that, I didn't feel their chemistry, their tension, nothing, but the banter was good, so I will give it that. Another thing I also want to say before I wrap up this review really quick or whatever is the fact that maybe Ezra was a little too good for Danny. I never say that. I will probably never say it again, but I feel like she was just so horrible to him in multiple ways, honestly. And so maybe he just should move on and find better or whatever, because like, I will never stand behind the two of them. The only good thing about them was the banter, and still I don't foresee them as a couple in real life. Like, after the book they'd probably go break up or whatever if this was a real life case scenario. And so here I am, I'm just saying that, listen, while it did have a lot of spice, and listen, I'm not the biggest fan of it, that's not the problem. The problem here is that they think their physical connection equates to love. It's the fact that there was no emotional connection whatsoever, or at least I didn't feel one. And then apart from that, their backstories are really deep as separate characters, but together it just doesn't make sense, and maybe they weren't meant for each other. So don't come after me that I'm saying all of this, but here we are anyway. I have gone ahead and finished, and I'm giving this like 3 stars, the same rating as the other book by this author. And so again, don't come after me, because I know I asked for depth, but I didn't ask for depth the way it was done in this book. Here it was just traumatizing depth. And so take with that what you will. I honestly read it because I've been obsessed with lawyer shows. If you've read the book Marriage for One by Ella Mace, the guy in it, Jack Hawthorne, my number one book boyfriend ever, my number one favorite romance book ever, he's a lawyer. And then the shows, like I said, so there's Harvey Specter and Mike Ross from Suits, and then there's Connor Walsh, Annalise Keating, all the gang or whatever from How to Get Away with Murder. That's the only reason I read it, for the courtroom drama, which I had fun with the legal side of it, but also I found that situation a little underwhelming as well. So I will just say it was a little rushed, the conclusion to the book, and I feel like it lasted a little bit too long and there was no connection. So take with that what you will. I found this really dull. I found it really dry. The characters were very plain and very cardboardy, and if you want to read it, you definitely can, because it definitely fed into those lawyer, I guess, hyper fixations of mine or whatever from watching the shows, but it wasn't the best thing ever, and I'd rather just stick to watching the shows. Now I'm probably gonna go listen to an audiobook or whatever, because the event I had today, it actually got over like an hour or so ago. I just wanted to unwind now, which is why I took the time out, but now I want to lock in again with my reading. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but a couple of days ago I had to go to the next town over for my driving license or whatever to give my exam, and I gave my exam, but on the way over there my granddad was taking me, so he was driving, which is why I was literally free to go listen to whatever I wanted audiobook, which is why I started this fantasy one that I've been meaning to for a little bit, and I have gotten some decent progress in, because keep in mind we went to a different town and we came back since from there, and I had it sped up. So I will probably go continue listening to that audiobook and finish it out right now, and do a couple errands I need to be doing, maybe work on some drawing assignments that I need to go finish out. And so I'll see what I'm doing, but basically that's what I plan on, I guess, reading out next. And I know we can finish today because there isn't a lot left. I don't even know why I'm stopping. Maybe I just don't want that world to get over, because I do believe it's the last book, but we shall see. I'm probably just gonna go pick that up now, and I'll catch up with you all in a little bit once I'm done. But so far, not so great updates, because I'm just not liking the books in this video. And does that mean I'm falling back into my reading slump? I'm scared. I don't know. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Okay guys, it's definitely a lot later now, but I have gone ahead and finished the book I was listening to. I think it's called 3 Shattered Souls. I had so much more left on the audiobook than I thought I did, which is why it's taken a little bit to get here, but I have gotten here now. I just finished the book literally 1 second ago and thought might as well just give my update while I'm at it. And so I guess it's summary time. This is the third book, I believe. It's like a trilogy or something like that, and so I'll be talking only about the first book, because if I speak about this one specifically, it's going to be huge spoilers and I don't want to do that to anyone. But essentially the first book in the series or whatever follows these 5 liars that are gathered across the land or whatever, and they're kind of recruited for this like ultimate mission of killing the God King. Except how they're supposed to do that, because he is immortal, he's a God King for a reason. And not just that, they're all liars. What if they like betray each other just to get like higher reward or whatever amongst themselves, and what if they stab each other in the back? And then also not just that, their mission is so impossible, so what if they fail, and what if they get caught while they're at it? So they're trying to like go across the land, gather allies, kind of formulate some sort of plan to kind of kill the God King. And so as all of this is happening, they're starting to become closer, they're starting to become more like non-blooded family, but they're still family, except they start betraying each other and lies come to the surface and there's trust issues. And basically that's the whole point of 5 Broken Blades. I read the first book in the series, I believe around this time last year, which is so weird because we're coming full circle now. Finished the series today. I don't really know how to feel, because I will say it definitely could have been cut short. Again, I don't know why I'm saying this, because I had a good time, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this book was a little too long for its length. I looked it up on Goodreads, it says it's over 500 pages, so I feel like it definitely could have been cut a little short. I feel like the whole series as a whole, it really puts people off, because the first book isn't that great. Looking back, now that I've read more fantasy in comparison, it's really slow, there's not a lot happening, it's very monotonous and boring, and it's a little dull. The second, it gets really good. It doesn't fall whatsoever into second book syndrome or whatever. It's like one of the best books I've read literally ever. And now I'm conflicted about the third one, because I feel like if you look at the trilogy as a whole, the first book, I feel like only a quarter of it could be cut down and actually used. The second book used all of it to actually incorporate, and the third book just now, maybe half of it would make sense. So this could have been better, I feel like, as a duology rather than a trilogy. I feel like it was personally dragged out a little more than it should have been, but also I had a good time. So I'm kind of unsure. Maybe I'm gonna give it like 4 stars. I'll have that on screen or whatever once I'm editing, if that's my final rating. But for now, looking back, I feel like it was a little underwhelming, this one. It wasn't as good as the previous one, because I feel like the story was just dragging. There's some sort of betrayal, there's trust issues, something happens and suddenly you're questioning all the characters again, and then you give it like another 2 chapters, everyone's friends again, everything settles back to normal. Suddenly there's another lie that uproots everything, and it goes back and forth in a repeat. And I feel like it's just getting a little too boring now, because it's happened far too many times to hold my attention. And so I definitely needed more variety in it, which I definitely did not get, which is why here we are now. I'm not complaining, because I had a good time reading, don't get me wrong. And just now the ending, it got me a little emotional. My heart is like beating on overdrive, because something happened that I didn't expect, and suddenly now I'm trying to understand what's going to happen next. Even the way it ended just now in the epilogue, I'm assuming she's going to write some sort of spin-off series or whatever based off of this or whatever, because like something happens and suddenly it's kind of like an open-ended ending or whatever. And I definitely think there could be more to this world, which I definitely will get to reading. It's just I'm not sure if I read more books this author writes that are outside of this world, because I'm far too invested now. But also to get this invested, it took some time. And so if you're ready for like some really slow fantasy, this could be your cup of tea. But also I feel like not a lot happens, it's a little too repetitive for my taste, and this definitely dragged on more than it should have. And also the ending just now, it was very underwhelming, because it was so much build up the past 3 books or whatever to this one moment, and suddenly I feel like that moment just let me down, even though it was really cool, even though I definitely didn't see it coming. So my review is conflicted, because I just finished and I haven't formulated my thoughts. Basically I have to go process. But for now I will say I am just a little bit disappointed with this one specifically, because I was expecting it to be 5 stars. That's my fault. And so giving it 4, nothing wrong with that rating. It's just I thought it would be more, and it definitely let me down in that sense. And it was a little bit boring in a couple scenes, and I definitely felt myself zoning away. So I'm just gonna say 4 stars, and we'll move on, and I'll pick up the next book, which again is going to be a Kindle one, because I'm not in the mood for listening to anything right now, which is why I'm gonna go do all of that and catch up with you all maybe in a little bit now, because we'll see what I have on Kindle. I'm in the mood for something shorter now. I just want something done with quick. I don't want like a full-length novel. I don't even know why. Maybe it was listening to these 500 pages that are putting me off, or maybe my slump is back. So we'll see what I end up doing. But basically I'm gonna go look for some sort of short story on my Kindle and catch up with you all once I'm done with it, because I definitely think I can finish one tonight, and then we'll see what I end up reading. But basically that's the plans for now, and I'm gonna go. But so far it's a really fun, peaceful reading day, and I'm having a good time doing all of this. So I'll go do that, and I'll catch up with you all in a little bit. Bye. Okay guys, just now the next evening. It's technically the end of our long weekend, but I wanted to come in quickly to catch up on what I actually ended up reading yesterday after I came in last and spoke to you, because I did read some on Kindle and I did get a different book complete, but also I didn't really have the time to come later in the night to come speak to you then, because today was college, a full day, and so I just wanted to get my sleep in and whatever and be energized enough that I could actually focus today. So I was busy doing all of that, but now that, it's the evening now of the next day and I have all the free time in the world, let's kind of sit down and discuss what I ended up reading last night. Basically, I said I wanted to read something on Kindle, and because I was in the mood for something, I guess, smaller, because I just wanted it done or whatever. I wanted that instant gratification you get from reading books in like one day or whatever and finishing it off, except you aren't reading the whole day because it's just like a novella. I ended up picking up, I think it's called I Hope This Finds You, which is like the sequel almost to I Hope This Doesn't Find You, a book I read in a different video, I think about a year ago or something, around Valentine's Day. So now summary time for this book. Essentially, in I Hope This Doesn't Find You, the main book, you follow these two people or whatever, Sadie and Julius. And the thing with Sadie is that she's this academic overachiever, and the best part is she's always driven by competition, and the person who's competing with her on the other hand is her co-captain Julius, because he's also like an overachiever like her, except whenever they're competing, because there's this silent competition going on in her head when she's like giving them points and stuff, sometimes he overtakes her in that system, and so she gets pissed off, and just pissed off with his like aloof, easygoing nature or whatever, that he gets everything in his lap, or at least she thinks so, that whenever she's pissed off at him, she goes ahead and through her school work laptop writes all these emails to him about how much she hates him and despises everything about him and like specific points or whatever, and saves it to her drafts folder, except one day something happens and she has to leave her computer unattended, run off after a professor to ask like a question, and guess what? Those emails get sent out. So every single one of the like 41, 42 emails she wrote, talking shit about Julius, are all sent out to him. He receives it, and not only are they sent to him, they also accidentally get sent to the entire school staff and all the children on like the main school page or whatever. So now everyone has access to them. Everyone knows what she's thinking about in her hate emails, and suddenly everyone hates her and she's like public enemy number one. Except as all of this is happening, suddenly she's finding comfort as her rock in one specific person, and it's none other than Julius. You wouldn't expect that turn of events, and so it's like kind of like a love story, but also it's rivals to lovers, wherein they start falling for each other now, and you see how it goes ahead or whatever, because people hate her, except how can she be tolerated now when she's being cancelled, especially by the one guy she's always hated or whatever, except has he always hated her? And so the storyline is very interesting, but I personally didn't really like the book very much. If you want my full thoughts and opinions, definitely go watch the video where I read it for the first time. And so I'm happy I did read it, but also recently I saw that like a specific novella, I Hope This Finds You, comes out, wherein it also has his perspective, and I'll be honest, I really liked him in the book. It's just that I didn't like certain aspects about that book specifically, and so I was just like, listen, I'll give it a shot because it's only 70 odd pages, and I've been seeing people honestly hyping the shit out of this book up, so I was just like, listen, if it's got good banter, I know I will eat it up. So listen, it was only 75 pages. That's the justification I gave, even though I didn't like book one. And so I was like, I'll try it. If I like it, maybe I'll read more by this author. If I don't, I don't have to. So I went ahead, downloaded it to my Kindle, and guess what? I actually enjoyed it more than the original book, because here you kind of watch the sequence of events after they get together, like 6 months in the future, whatever. Now they're in Australia, by the way. That's where they're located. They're kind of moving to the US for colleges and stuff, the two of them, and so you kind of watch the two of them actually take like a 2-week trip to America before they move into their colleges or whatever, except in those 2 weeks they're planning stuff out, being a couple, doing all these adventurous things or whatever, and trying to grapple with what's going to come next in college life. And I think it's really sweet because you get like a glimpse into what relationship they have, and I definitely think they're one of the book couples that will make it off page even once the book gets over or whatever, because I don't generally say that, but their relationship I believe in, because this gave me everything. I feel like the first book, in my opinion, could have been fixed if we had Julius's POV like we did in this one, because I ate that shit up. This man is so down bad, and not only that, their banter in this was so top tier. So I had a good time, but it was only 75 pages, so I will have to see if there's like another novel that comes out in their perspective or whatever in like the series. I will definitely read it to see my opinions on it or whatever, but I feel like as a shorter length book, this was really good. It gave me everything it had to. It had me giggling and having a good time, so I'm going to say 3.5 stars, generally because I don't give novellas more than that. You can't establish much of like an emotional connection with the characters in 70 odd pages, but I am happy I read it because I'm already kind of connected to the characters from having read book 1, even though I didn't like it very much. And so I think it gave what it had to give. It was a good old fun time and I finished it in no time whatsoever. So I think that's a win in my book. And then because I still had time in the night, the novella was a little too short in my opinion. I could have easily gone for something instead of this, more like 100 or like 120-ish page book, but I didn't. Again, not regretting that I read this or whatever. I'm just saying that if I would have read something longer, maybe I would have had more reading done or whatever. But because I was done with this and I still had the time to read, I figured since I've been reading or rereading Book Lovers all month or whatever, I just picked this back up and continued with my reread. And now I have only 100 or 20 pages left. So what I'm thinking is I won't really be reading this in any other vlog specifically. I have all other planned ones for the month, and so I know the weekend is over, but I feel like I didn't really record very much in it anyway. I had 3 whole days wherein I literally just did nothing in terms of recording because I was busy with other stuff, which is why I'm gonna extend the vlog just so I can finish the book off in this video, because it's not gonna be there in any other video anyway. And so I've been rereading this all month or whatever, which means it's finally time to finish my last 120 pages or whatever, lock in tonight and do it, because I definitely think I can. And so I will go do that and catch up with y'all in a little bit, because my options, honestly, in the moment I was craving like an Emily Henry reread, and because I've already read only 3 books by her, the adult contemporary ones. I've also read A Million Junes, but I genuinely just don't like that book, so I don't like to associate it with Emily Henry. I figured I wanted to reread one of the 3 I've already read. There's a whole vlog on me reading them as well in case anyone's interested. I've read Beach Read a couple times, I've read Book Lovers, and I've read People We Meet on Vacation. And while the original choice would have been People We Meet on Vacation because I've been craving that since literally forever reread, I know the movie comes out in January of next year, which is why I'm going to be saving it so I can reread in the same week as the movie. And so I'm saving that for that, which is why I figured it's either between Beach Read and this. And because I already read Beach Read again a couple months ago, I figured might as well give this a shot, because the first time I read it is a fever dream to me. I literally don't remember shit except only a couple key monumental scenes, and at that point I gave it 5 stars. So I just wanted to see what I loved about it again or whatever, just experience this world again, because I do remember loving it, which is why I did. And I'm having the best time right now, giggling so freaking hard, having the best time kind of reading and swapping out between listening as well, because the audiobook is phenomenal, which is why I'm gonna go catch up on that. And I'll see you guys hopefully once this is done, because there isn't like a lot. I should be done in no time. It's Emily Henry. I eat this shit up every single damn time, and so one of my favorite books ever. Let me go reread and finish it off, and I'll catch up with you all hopefully tonight in like maybe an hour or 2, and then once I'm done we can speak about it and see how it goes. But then the vlog is finally done, so then I've actually known that I read some decent books and the vlog wasn't like 2 minutes long or whatever, and everyone would be bored. Whatever, I'm gonna go now. Bye. Alright guys, so this is my walk off, or I guess seat of shame at this point, because it's been more than a week. I have gone ahead, I actually finished this book, my reread of it, the very same day I gave you my last clip, but for some reason never came into update. And now it's been more than a week later. 2 days ago I actually finished editing the entire vlog of this, except it's lacking the outro, and because of college and everything else I literally had no time to come and sit down and record it, which is why it could have gone out earlier if my management and my, I guess, scheduling and planning system was better. But it's not, and the day that that stuff gets better has not come yet, which is why we have to deal with it now. I have come in regardless of how much later it is to kind of give you my update on my reread of Book Lovers, thoughts and whatever, and then we can finally wrap this damn video up, because it's been going for so long, and it just needs to get posted at this point. There's too much happening, and so it's finally time. Let's give Book Lovers this moment to shine, and enough about my poor planning skills. Basically, I decided to do a reread of this because I'll be so honest, at the time when I read this, I think in the same week or whatever, read Beach Read, which is like a 6-star, I think one of the best books I've ever read in my entire lifetime read. And I also read People We Meet on Vacation for the first time, which is a 5-star book for me. Truly, I know the internet hates it, but for some reason there's something about that book that's made me emotionally dependent on it, which is why I cannot hear no wrong about it, and I'm obsessed with it truly. And so those are like such huge like god tier books for me, that at the same time when I read this, I feel like in the hype of everything else I gave it 5 stars. Not saying that it doesn't deserve 5 stars. In my opinion, my 5 stars are always put high on this pedestal, and I wasn't really sure looking back if it was 5 stars, because I think about those 2 books at this like obsessive addictive level. It probably isn't very healthy, to be honest, but I still do it anyway, and I've never actually thought about this since I finished it. The same week I actually started reading it, I do believe I also finished high school, so there was a lot going on in my life at that point. And then the next week after that I started my reading 50 books in 50 days challenge. Still in the middle of recording all of that, give me a break. But basically there was a lot going on at that point that I just don't think I fully gave this what focus or attention it kind of deserved. And I did give it 5 stars, I think, in the hype and happiness and I guess the giddy excitement of everything else I was reading. But looking back, I wasn't really sure if it was 5 stars because, like I said, the way I think about, say, beach read, for example, this summer when I was at my uncle's beach house, he has this deck, and for some reason there's this deck that's mentioned in beach read in passing where there's like a couple scenes or whatever. For some reason I kept comparing his deck to the deck in beach read and craving a reread of beach read while I was sitting on that deck over there, just because of a damn deck. That's literally just like one little place, but for some reason it kept reminding me and making me crave a reread. And so that speaks of my kind of levels of obsession with that book. Also, at the same time, I was also reading this book called The Ghost Writer or whatever on vacation, I think towards the end of it or whatever, because it was this like arc sent to me, and one of the girls who was murdered in it, it was a murder mystery, was called Poppy, but for some reason it reminded me of Poppy from People We Meet on Vacation. Characters are nothing the same, it's just the name, and I was craving a reread of that. And so that goes to say I'm obsessed with those books, which is why I think at the point when I was reading those two and then I read this, because of my obsession of those, it kind of outshadowed this, I believe, and then I just gave this 5 stars because I was giving everything else 5 stars. And looking back, I wasn't sure if it was 5 stars like the other two because I literally just don't think of this. And like I said, my 5-star books are such like this high pedestal for me that I need to be looking up at them, thinking of them every point in the day. And if I don't just think it's 5 stars anymore. Even Silver Elite, I did the vlog a few months ago. Looking back, I gave it 5 stars in the moment, but like, was it 5 stars looking back? I don't think so. So at this point, I do have to go reread some of my old like 5 stars to see if they are anymore. This, I'm so sorry to say, it wasn't. I'll get into my thoughts and summary of it in a second, but first, I just wanted to give you backstory on why I reread it, because I don't think I mentioned it in my last clip or whatever, but basically, that's the whole long story made longer. Now about this book, not that it's bad or anything, definitely pick it up if you want to. It basically follows this woman called Nora Stevens. She kind of works at this like agenting job or whatever. She's like this cutthroat agent in the literary world, wherein her job is to literally get her authors the best deals ever. So her life is literally surrounded by books from literally day one, and because of that, she has this thing wherein she categorizes everything into like tropes or just stuff that's going on from like maybe picked up from like a romance novel or just something. Alright, so the way her life works essentially is the fact that, have you all ever heard of like a small town romance where there's this man who comes in from the city or whatever, and he's like this big shot dude, and he comes in to like take down the small town business or whatever, except he kind of starts falling for the business owner, and suddenly he helps the business owner kind of save the business or whatever, except now when he gets to go back to the city to his mean city girlfriend or whatever, he realizes that life is not for him, so he ditches the city girlfriend and he just moves to the small town or whatever to be with the small business owner that he fell in love with. And so that's the whole storyline arc. Yeah, in that storyline arc, Nora is the main city girlfriend, not the small town woman or whatever, so her life has always been categorized in the sense that everyone thinks she's like a cutthroat shark. Even in the literary world, that's literally her name. So at the beginning, you start off with her getting broken up with or whatever because she just isn't emotionally available and the guy found someone else in a small town or whatever. And so her life has been thrown upended yet again. Not that she cares or whatever, she doesn't need the man. It's just, it's happened way too many times. I think this was like a 4th time. And so it just doesn't feel like a coincidence the way she's explaining it. And it happens at the same time as she's on this like lunch meet, or she's getting ready to go there to meet this man called Charlie Lastra, who is, I guess, this editor who is also a shark in his own field. He's been described as Midas. Basically, any manuscript he touches or whatever turns to gold, and she's gone there to kind of sell the idea of one of her authors to him. He rejects, and they're both simply having the worst day of their lives. You'll find out later why. And so, thanks to everything else, she kind of skews her opinion of the day on the basis of how much she hates him or whatever, because there's a lot that, you know, went wrong that day or whatever, and she compares that to how much she hates him, and so they start off on the wrong foot basically. Now I believe it's fast forwarded like a couple years or whatever, now looking back into the future or whatever. Now in present timeline, Nora, she kind of needs like a break from her city job or whatever, because again, it's like so slow season, there's not a lot going on, and her sister actually wants to take this like vacation to this place called Sunshine Falls, and she's already booked everything ready to go because it's from her favorite like small town romance novel that she just needs to go check it out there. Coincidentally, it's also the same novel Charlie rejected at their like lunch meeting or whatever, so Nora, you know, gives in. They end up going there, except as they go there and her sister kind of wants to plan out the perfect like romance small towns trope for Nora or whatever, instead of running into those small town men and starting to fall for one of them, she starts running into Charlie. Of all people, in all places, she runs into Charlie, and suddenly, because they're being thrown together in all these like unlikely situations, they start bonding and I guess getting to know each other on like an emotional level, and suddenly you get get to see that maybe you don't really judge a book by its cover. Maybe first chances aren't all the way they seem like to be or whatever, and maybe, they aren't as bad for each other, because slowly they start to fall for each other, except it can never work out because of a couple of reasons. And so that's basically the story. It's almost like right person, wrong time, and the way it's done is really good. Do not get me wrong. This book, I feel like, caters to like older sisters, because even her relationship with Libby, the way it's explored her younger sister, I feel like as an older sister myself, there were so many bits of it that I literally felt seen, I felt heard, and I could relate to potentially like 90% of the book, the way she spoke about it, because there's true feelings for my little sister that I feel, the way they're encapsulated in the book, that I was just like, wait, hey, I need to make her listen to this, because again, this is for the older sisters, but at the same time, it's also for like hopeless romantics. You don't really expect a lot, but you get it anyway. And so if you are like a romance reader, it's definitely something you can pick up, but also it's more like women's fiction with a subplot of romance. I feel like that's every Emily Henry book, but with top tier banter and writing. So again, if you want to pick it up, you can. But looking back, it was a great time to read it. I had the best time ever. Now I actually absorbed everything. I know key moments and stuff. I was giggling, but it's just not something I've thought of since I've gone ahead and finished it. And so I'm changing my rating to 4.5 stars. Again, not that it's bad or whatever, it was still a really good book. It's just not as good to me as my other two Emily Henry reads that I'm completely obsessed with. So I also went ahead and changed my review of this to, this book is like a love letter for the older sisters out there, not hopeless romantics, because I feel like it's more catered to older sisters. But also, if you are a hopeless romantic, it's definitely something you can pick up, and it's a great book. I love the social commentary in it as well. And if you really love beach read or whatever, there's like a couple almost like Easter egg references in this book too there, which is why if you want to read it, definitely go ahead. It's a great book, and it's great right now for the summertime, because that trip takes place in August, and it's August right now, and so there's no better time to read it than right now. I will definitely get around to reading this sometime soon or whatever again, because like I said, I had a great time. It's just, it isn't as good to me as the other two Emily Henry books, which is why I'm also going to be changing my ranking now to number 1 beach read, number 2 people we meet on vacation, and number 3 book lovers. And then soon, when I go ahead and read the rest of her backlist out in a different vlog, I'll give you my final ranking. But for now, with the reread or whatever, this is what I'm feeling, and so just something I wanted to mention. But now we've finally reached the end of, I guess, my speaking clip for book lovers, because I've been yapping for too damn long, which is why here we are. We've now reached the end of the vlog, literally so much later. It was supposed to be a long weekend, but clearly it was like a long weekend-ish thinking back. So here we are. Hopefully you guys had a fun time coming along with me regardless, and if you did, like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube things, you know how to do them. And if you've got similar recommendations to this, definitely give them my way, because it's definitely something I had fun reading. It's just maybe this is all I needed to get me out of my reading slump, because right now I'm not feeling the best with books. So maybe if I get out of my reading slump, maybe again one day I'll give it 5 stars in a different mood or whatever. But for now, it is the way it is. We have reached the end of the vlog. Don't know why I'm still talking, so I'm gonna end it right here. I'll see y'all next week, and hopefully whatever next video I end up recording. And until then, take care, stay safe out there. I love you guys so much, and that's it. Literally. Bye. See y'all next week. I forgot to say that. See y'all next week. Bye.